That summer sun we love so much can turn out to be a major beauty bummer for a lot of women, even sometimes when sunscreen is used. If you've suffered from melasma, you know what a pain it can be. It's a chronic skin condition that causes discoloration on the face, most often on the upper cheeks, the nose, around the lip area. But there are ways to treat melasma, and we brought in dermatologist Dr. Brian Williams to share some of the most popular treatment options out there. I wish this wasn't the case. I also am a co-expert in this topic. It's terrible.
It's something that makes you look different. It looks different than you want to, and so you have to use makeup to cover it up. And so there's nobody knows what causes it.
Really?
People with darker skin tones tend to get it more often.
Okay.
So if you're more of a darker skin tone, or even have Hispanic skin or Asian skin, they tend to be more likely to get it.
Which I don't, and I still struggle.
But all people can get it. Only about 10% of melasma sufferers are men. Most of them are women. And there's certain things that will predispose you to it. If you have a family history of it, if during pregnancy it's got a high likelihood of coming, or even if you start a birth control pill.
So there's a hormonal connection.
There is a hormonal connection that even if you stop it, it doesn't always stop the melasma. It can continue for years. And the treatment of it, the best treatment for it is something called hydroquinone. Now, hydroquinone, there's only 2% available over the counter. The 4% works better, and that's only available by prescription. So there's a product out there called Triluma, which is prescription. A lot of compounding pharmacies can make something like it, but it uses 4% hydroquinone, a retinoic acid, and a steroid. And typically within 5 to 7 weeks, it can bring it down. But the problem with melasma is not a cure, it just brings it down. So next summer, when the sun comes out again, it brings it back.
This is something I want to ask you. So I know when you're out in the sun and you have direct contact with the sun, it causes it to flare up. But I've heard also that heat, just the temperature, can cause the coloration to pull to the surface.
It's more UV light, and it can even be the light you get from inside that can bring it out a little bit more. Photoprotection, UV sunscreens, especially those with zinc in them, are vital for people with melasma, but it's not the only thing. Sun protection with the hydroquinone works better than just the sun protection alone. So it's one of those things you have to keep working at and trying to get better. So
the Triluma combines the retinoids with the hydroquinone. That's what I had the most success with, honestly.
It works very, very well, but sometimes that doesn't work enough for people. And the other problem with hydroquinone is most of them, they only let you use them for 3 months at a time.
Right.
So retinoids alone can be quite effective, but they take a lot longer to work. And the problem with melasma is when you have it, you want it to go away quickly.
Like yesterday.
Yes, and so because of that, you don't want to wait for that. So sometimes in my practice, we'll combine that Triluma, and then when they go off of that, they'll just go on the retinoid for a while, and then 3 or 4 months later, they can go back on the Triluma.
It's a process. I mean, you really do have to treat it in a smart, kind of strategic way. What's your opinion on chemical peels?
So if the topicals aren't working for you, there are procedures that'll work. Chemical peels and also microdermabrasions can be helpful. The problem with them is if they're done incorrectly, they can actually worsen the melasma. So you want to go to somebody who's familiar with melasma, has done it before, and know what they're doing.
What would cause a chemical peel or a microdermabrasion to make the problem worse?
Too deep. If you go too deep, it causes what's called post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, which adds on to the hyperpigmentation of melasma and can make the brown appearance even darker.
Now, I had a laser treatment several years ago, and I'm just going to be totally candid. I was not pleased with the results.
All lasers are not created equal. There's actually only one laser out there that the FDA said this works really well for melasma so far. Maybe there's been another one since I researched it last, but it's a fractional resurfacing laser that works pretty well. But you're running into quite a bit of money there. Laser treatments, because you're treating until you're happy. You're not necessarily treating, you got to treat until you don't see it or you're happy, and so it may take 1, 2, 3 laser treatments to get that to go away. But again, you need to go to a laser person that's familiar with melasma, has treated it before. They know, because you get the wrong laser, again, you can get some of that darkening of the melasma
You mentioned pregnancy is kind of a problematic time for a lot of women when those hormones are at work, and you can't use a lot of these creams when you're pregnant. So what do you recommend to your expecting patients?
Very few things. There is one called azelaic acid that can be used during pregnancy, and it has been equated to somewhat around that hydroquinone level. It's kind of a second line thing, but it's pregnancy category B or considered safe during pregnancy.
But the bottom line, once you've got it, you've got it. It's your friend for life.
It's your friend, and you got to find a way to kind of manage it.
Listen, I've enjoyed sharing this co-expert seat with you. No, that was super helpful information. If people want to get in touch with you for solutions of their own, how can they do so?
BrianWilliamsDermatology.com.
Thank you, friend. We appreciate it.